I began shopping more than I probably should. Soho was just a few subway stops away. And I was just going out more, doing more things. Before I knew it, I was totally a victim of lifestyle creep.
Who the am I to tell you what to do with your money?
My name is Priya Malani, ex-Merrill Lynch, ex-Wall Street, extremely type A, the kind of crazy you want in charge of your cash. Currently managing millions of hardworking dollars for hardworking, high-earning 30-somethings like yourself. Whatever phase you're in, financially free, fixing it,
Or feeling totally
my job is to teach you the stuff that no one else is going to. Enough foreplay. Take off the jeans, put on the sweats, grab a glass, and let's talk
money.
Welcome to the F word. Smart money.
No toll.
Hey guys, I'm kicking things off with a topic that's super relatable for almost everyone. It's universal, and it's lifestyle creep. Even if you've never heard the term before, you definitely know what it is. If you're wondering if you've ever been a victim of lifestyle creep, here's a good test. Have you ever said to yourself, when I'm making 10,000 more or 20,000 more, then I'll save, then I'll travel, then I'll invest, whatever. But time goes by, you're actually making 10,000 more, whatever it is, and you literally don't feel like you have anything more to show for it. It's kind of like, where's that money going? It's so common and something I really want to help you avoid. An important part of getting your financial life in order is making sure you're living a lifestyle you can afford. And if you're pulling in six figures, but still feeling like you're behind or struggling to save or living paycheck to paycheck, I'm going to help you fix that today. Stick around to the end, and I'm going to share the only two things you need to do to make sure you're living a lifestyle you can afford and that you don't fall victim to lifestyle creep. I remember when I first moved to New York for my job at Merrill, I was coming from Atlanta and my salary was like doubling. Literally, I was going to be making double the money I was making before. In Atlanta, my rent was dirt cheap. I was paying $330 a month for the largest bedroom in a 3-bedroom apartment, which I was sharing with a couple college friends. Looking back, that's pretty insane. We got an apartment in a retirement community off of North Druid Hills, if you know it, that was required to save, I guess, a portion of their apartments for non-retirees. And so we snagged one of those apartments and split it. And it was ridiculous. It was honestly made me feel like I was so rich because I was feeling so good about my finances because my rent was so affordable. Then I moved to New York. My salary shot up, basically doubled. And my rent, I'll never forget the number, went to $1,800 a month for a studio under 300 square feet. I could barely fit a bed in there. In fact, I had a pull-out couch from IKEA, basically in the room, which was also the kitchen. But I was working on Wall Street, so it kind of felt like, that's just the deal. I had the big job, my pay went up. But here's the thing, my lifestyle grew so tremendously. And at first, it was like really little things. I remember I was working on a trading floor and we had to be at the office at our desk by 7:30 in the morning. So whereas in Atlanta, I was kind of used to making breakfast at home, I was now grabbing bagels and coffee from the vendor on the trading floor, which they have literally vendors on every single floor that come around with coffee, bagels in the morning. And I wasn't the only one. I mean, everyone did it. But it was a super small change that I made without even thinking. And then came the bigger shifts. Things that I would say no to, I was now saying yes to. I didn't really want to clean my tiny overpriced apartment anymore, so I hired a cleaning person. I started flying home more to visit family or just taking more trips without like having planned for them. I felt like, I'm in New York. I can go to the airport and fly basically anywhere. I began shopping more than I probably should. Soho was just a few subway stops away. And I was just going out more, doing more things. Before I knew it, I was totally a victim of lifestyle creep. And I'm sure part of it was just the excitement of the new city, the new job, the new opportunities, whatever. But looking back, I think if I had to pinpoint it, it was that $1,500 rent increase that really got me. Because somehow the psychology of paying $1,500 more in rent, I guess, made me feel like I could afford to increase my lifestyle in so many other places. And I didn't even really realize that it was happening until I realized one day I was like, I don't have any more savings than I did when I was in Atlanta. I was making all this extra money. My bank account wasn't growing at all, or at least as much as I thought it would when I heard I was going to be paid so much. And I realized that I thought I had it under control, but what I had done is just really redefined what normal spending looked like for me. And let's just take a second to talk about that and the psychology behind lifestyle creep, because I think it's very common and we all do this. We just adjust our normal. And that's what makes lifestyle creep so difficult to prevent. We're just living our normal life. If you've got the money, after all, you're just going to spend it. And sometimes you need to spend it on the things you actually need. But I think when it becomes a problem is when the future rolls around and now you don't have the money for the things you want in the now. I actually saw a reel the other day where this influencer in LA is talking about how you can, I guess, rent the rich life by the hour. I've always rented bags and clothes for years, but I didn't know you could rent a house and a sports car by the hour and basically pretend it's yours. And that's your followers think that's your lifestyle. I might be saying something you already know, but it was pretty mind-blowing to me. And it kind of brings me to one of the biggest things that I think we're all up against, which is social media. If you've ever heard me speak before, you've definitely heard me give our public service announcement, which is your friends appear a lot richer on social media than they actually are. I'm not going to use the phrase highlight reel, but you get it. Social media is just, I guess, full of curated moments, and we perceive it as real life, luxury, vacations, parties, experiences, whatever. And it's definitely hard to not want a piece of that for yourself, especially when you're making good money, when you're making six figures. But the reel reminded me, and I think this is the crux, that you can buy just about anything, including looking rich, including feeling rich, but you absolutely cannot buy your way to being rich, which, I know we all wish could happen and we all want it to happen overnight. A crazy story, Stash Wealth, my company, we've been approached 3 different times in the past 10 years by different production companies to create a reality show about personal finance. And every single time I have to tell them the same thing. Getting rich is like watching paint dry. It's a slow and steady process. It doesn't have that instant drama that we're all looking for when we watch TV. But you can't make over your financial life in 48 hours like you can your kitchen or backyard. And I think that's where lifestyle creep kind of comes in. It's so subtle. It's every small upgrade kind of feels justified because we have more money, but the big picture, the long-term wealth goals, let's call them, get lost. And that's how we end up living paycheck to paycheck, even when we earn six figures. This is pretty wild, but a few years ago, we had a client from Connecticut. It was a couple who, I kid you not, was making a combined income of $650,000. And I know they were living in Connecticut, and yes, they had 3 kids. But my God, they were late 30s, early 40s, with not only nothing saved, but a shit ton of debt. All lifestyle debt, not student loans, not medical debt. They had the fancy gyms, they had the big cars, they had loans for things they did not need. Honestly, it was crazy. And it happens more than you think. If you're wondering, how does someone make that much money and end up in debt? That's the power of lifestyle creep. You start living like you're rich. And by the time you realize it, you're actually poor. You're trapped. So how do you combat lifestyle creep? It's a real problem, but it's fixable. And it comes down to 2 things in my book: automation and intention. So let's go through them one at a time. First is intention. This is where you get clear about what your goals are. Do you want to travel more? Do you want to buy a home? Do you want to pay off your debt? Do you want to build an emergency fund? Whatever your priorities are, getting specific about them is the first step. Without clarity around what you care about, it's just too easy to get distracted and start spending on random things. And you don't have the motivation because you don't know what you're putting your money towards instead of the instant gratification of the moment. So you're spending on random things that feel good, but don't necessarily move you closer to where you want to be. So you have to take the time to sit down and think about your goals, your priorities, your intentions, whatever you want to call it. And I'm a journaler, so this could be a great journaling exercise. Quite frankly, I'd pour myself a glass of wine, grab a journal, and just kind of let the ideas float. But think about it. Really, really think about it. Next up is automation. This is where it gets really powerful. It's easy to kind of say, I'll just save more money. But the truth is, most of us don't actively choose to save. We don't intentionally set money aside for our goals. And of course, as I've mentioned, instant gratification gets in the way. Before you know it, the money you meant to save for your house or your retirement or your vacation is gone. And the crappy part is that you probably spent it on things that didn't even matter to you. Or in hindsight, when you look back, you're like, yeah, I didn't really need that. So that's where automation, I think, changes everything. When you automate your savings, you're essentially forcing yourself to save before you have the chance to spend it. It's got to be out of sight, out of mind. It has to. The beauty is that once you set it up, once you get everything automated, it runs on its own. So when you get paid, or maybe sometimes twice a month, once a month, twice a month, it doesn't matter. But part of your paycheck automatically goes into your savings or investment accounts without you having to think about it. And more importantly, without you having to do anything. I challenge you, you'll truly be amazed how much easier it is to stick with your goals when you make it automatic. I like to think of it, I guess, a little bit like your rent or your utility bills. Those payments just happen without you having to think about it. And you should do the same thing for your savings. Now, with that framework in mind, let's make sure you're living a lifestyle you can actually afford, which, it's not always easy to keep track of where your money's going. But a great place to start is by pulling up your last credit card statement and reviewing it. I know you're probably thinking, I know where my money's going, but just humor me and pull out last month's credit card and just look at the statement and review every charge. And I'm not necessarily picking on Amazon specifically, but I bet that's a place where many of us are spending more than we realize because, we're all busy and it's easy to lean on convenience, and Amazon can be a trap. Back in the day, you had to go down to the hardware store to buy AA batteries. Now you throw it in your cart and it shows up with your toilet paper and a cute top. All right, I'm going to leave you with a small challenge. Instead of waiting until your next raise and resetting your normal, try working within your current situation to put intention and automation to work. I'm going to give you this 3-step plan to help you get started. 1, start with your intentions or goals. This is what drives everything else in your plan. This is your motivation. Be clear about what you want to save for, whether it's a trip to Cabo or a condo in Denver. Whatever it is, get specific. Next, look at last month's credit card bill and add up all the charges as you look back. You could take or leave. I don't really need that. For most 6-figure earners I talk to, the number is never less than $500, and it honestly ranges into the thousands, which is probably crazy to think about, that you might be spending hundreds or thousands of dollars a month on things you only half care about in hindsight. We're talking about things that once you look back, you're like, yeah, I guess I didn't really need that. Figure out what those are. 3rd step, set up your automations. Open up a separate savings account for each of your goals, preferably at a different bank than your checking account, that whole out of sight, out of mind. So for example, one of mine is specifically for holiday tips for my doorman. I have 18 doormen, actually 19 with the valet. I need to take care of each holiday. I want to take care of each holiday. And I like to tip each individually. So one of my priorities is to set up a savings account where a little bit of money every paycheck goes into my tips account. You could have one for a home down payment, super common, a renovation fund, travel is another super common one. I would say holiday gifts, that's another one we see a lot. But whatever your priorities are, open up a savings account and automate money into it so that you're paying yourself basically first. Here's a final thought. When your income goes up, it's easy to think that you have the freedom to spend it all, right? That's what gets you in this trap in the first place. But by following these simple steps, you'll make sure that money goes towards the things that really matter, and you'll avoid lifestyle creep. Not only will you avoid lifestyle creep, but you'll be on track for your long-term goals and that ever-elusive concept of financial freedom.
Thanks for listening to The F Word with Priya Malani. If you like what you heard, hit subscribe wherever you're listening and leave us a review while you're at it. We're approval junkies. Don't forget, you can find a ton of great resources, content, courses, and other freebies at stashwealth.com. Now, for the capital S stuff our lawyers want us to say. Stash Wealth is a registered investment advisor. Content presented is for informational and educational purposes only and is not intended to make an offer or solicitation for any specific securities, product, service, or strategy. Consult with a qualified investment advisor, that's us, before implementing any strategy. Investing involves risk, including the loss of principal. Past performance does not guarantee future results. There, we said it.
Did I have that up?